Meh. Before I get started, I'd like to thank everyone who's checked out my Audrey Extravaganza vlog. Time consuming as they were, it was a delight putting all 5 installments together. I'd also like to explain that I'm still trying to figure out how to present any future content, as what I'm limited to in terms of editing is a bit restrictive. So I'm just making the best of it and seeing what works. With all that out of the way, I'll get started. Some time ago I went to see Thor Love and Thunder in cinemas and enjoyed it very much. During the trailers I was shown Bullet Train. It looked interesting enough. A film about a train? Why not? Then on Twitter there was mentions of references to Thomas being scattered throughout Bullet Train, and I just had to see this for myself. So one insufferably hot day, I decided I deserved a treat and took myself to the cinema where it was much cooler. This is the film I saw. Bullet Train is an action comedy thriller about 5 assassins on a train departing from Tokyo, which focuses on Brad Pitt's character of Ladybug. No, that's not the French magical girl. He's an unlucky assassin who's come back into business after one too many gigs have gone off the rails. Other assassins from around the world have goals which are connected to, but conflicting, of Ladybug's mission. So from the sound of this premise, you can assume that a young Thomas fan, which is Thomas's target audience, is not going to enjoy this movie. If they would, then I'd be concerned for your child. This is an R-rated film. I'm going to try and avoid spoilers, but I cannot guarantee that there won't be anything you consider a spoiler in this video, so I would advise seeing the film before watching me talk about it, just in case. However, if you don't really care, then all aboard, let's go. The film kicks off by probably getting its slowest scene out of the way. Good move. We're introduced to a family in peril as a child is on life support, the father feels regret, and the grandfather is ashamed at the father. This situation and its characters become relevant to the film's plot, more so in the later half, so I won't go any further into them for now. Afterwards we're introduced to Ladybug, who is so jinxed I already know which character I'd be if I was placed in this film. He's got a simple job: get on the train, steal a briefcase, get off at the next stop. He thinks he'll actually pull this off successfully, but at the next stop one of the assassins starts a fight which forces him to stay on the train. From then on, the madness is in full swing. It's during this section of the plot that we're introduced to my favourite duo, the twins, Tangerine and Lemon. One's a dapper boy who has reminded me I need to buy more waistcoats. The other's a gifted judge of character and a fan of Thomas the Tank Engine, and friends. This is the man that drove all the Thomas fans to the film. Thank you, Lemon. I adore this comedic duo. Again, these are a pair that I can really relate to, just from their dynamic, which brings my favourite character interactions in the entire film. Tangerine is cool, a bit feisty, and seems to take the lead with operations. He is like the Derek to Rodney. Lemon is a bit of a wild card. He's competent at combat, and is never wrong about a person's persona, which gives him the advantage over everyone else. This gift of his comes down to everything he's learned from Thomas the Tank Engine. No point in avoiding it anymore. Let's talk about Thomas's presence in this film. The amount of references to the classic show is impressive. Just about every reference made to the series can be traced back to the first scene to reference Thomas. Lemon pulls out a sticker sheet with the engines on it. Now I don't think the sticker sheet is authentic. I can't find an image to double check, but I'm pretty sure you've got the 90s or 80s Thomas logo, with a season 6 or 7 promo of Gordon. Even so, the fact they've gone the lengths to get or make a sticker sheet of the characters and summarise some of their personalities was beautiful. I probably enjoyed it so much, with it being the first time that I'd seen or heard Thomas on the big screen. The descriptions are so accurate that Mattel should really be taking notes. There's a very in-depth description of Diesel in particular, being the one that you can't trust, which is fitting for a train carrying several assassins. There's also a gag where Tangerine does an impression of Thomas trying to do the Liverpudlian accent, which I was not expecting, and Duck of all engines gets a mention at some point. I was especially thrilled as at the time it was a comparison between the Great Western Engine and Diesel. The research was clearly done here and I'm grateful for it. The stickers and character descriptions make themselves relevant to the story every now and then, allowing for more Thomas references, but without alienating an audience that won't be too familiar with the show. The characters not too familiar with the show are either saying the wrong things or incorrectly calling the show Thomas the Train, and Lemon's always correcting them. Only Lemon doesn't add the "and friends" bit. That's only a slight nitpick though, because I'm sure we all just call it Thomas the Tank Engine most of the time. That's pretty much all I have to say about our talking trains, so let's get back to the film. So after Ladybug is forced to stay on the train and have a fight, it's pretty much Tom and Jerry style madness from here on. Not so much of a plot, but more chaos ensuing, and it's action sequence after action sequence, with the character interactions between, as everything goes signals up for the assassins, who each just want to do their job. Of course, it helps to pay attention to what's happening, as certain tricks and stunts lead to further plot developments, but after so long the film starts to get plot heavy, when the grandfather from the beginning joins the train. He is of course called the Elder, but we didn't know this yet. Having said that, another thing that I'm pretty sure is common with heist films occurs here, where every time an assassin or a significant character makes their first appearance on the train, their name is presented in neon aesthetic, and this certainly helps with keeping up. I'm not going to go further into the film from here, as once it gets plot heavy it's really just worth seeing the film for yourself, as you'll enjoy it more on the screen than by hearing me try to recap everything. But the short of it is that the remaining characters are all up against one more deadly threat, and a big battle commences on the train which nobody can figure out how to control. So what are my thoughts on Bullet Train? Well, it's a really enjoyable experience. I didn't notice any flaws with the plot or the writing, but then I don't usually do upon first watch. Either way, I think the comedy makes up for it, as I don't find myself taking things too seriously. You're just here to enjoy yourself at the end of the day. The setting is beautiful. I'm quite fond of Japanese aesthetic, which I have Ninja Turtles to thank for, and the neon lighting is always a plus. You get a couple of iconic songs sung in Japanese as well. I never knew till this day that I wanted to hear Stayin' Alive by the Bee Gees, performed brilliantly by Avu-chan. There is quite a lot of blood in this film, which should be expected in a film about assassins, but I sort of forgot this going into it, and I'm not that much of a fan of blood. Oops. But it's all good. Never felt queasy, like I do seeing medical documentaries, so well done Bullet Train. The only problem I have with the film is one particular character dying, and I really wish they didn't. I'm not saying who, but they did at least go about handling the aftermath of their death really well. So while I'm guyed about the death, emotional at the time even, they did good. There is an after credit scene as well which relates to this, and that is really worth sticking around for. So will Thomas fans enjoy Bullet Train? Probably. If you can enjoy or tolerate a more realistic style Tom and Jerry, then you're going to have no problems going in. If you grew up with or are still into Thomas, then it's a nice treat while you're watching the film. It was certainly enough to catch this Thomas fan's intrigue, and if you're watching this, it's probably done the same for you. I'd recommend Bullet Train. Have your tickets ready and enjoy the ride. Movie reviews isn't something that I'm doing much of at all. I only made a video out of this one just since my channel is largely Thomas centric. I've got a few more video ideas in mind which I'll be getting around to as and when possible. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Meh.